What if your pocket change holds $100,000 plus? From the legendary Washington Quarter, the iconic 1976 Bicentennial Quarter, to the rare 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, these coins are selling for hundreds of thousands. Stay tuned and uncover the secrets that could make you instantly rich. The historical shift, 0.45 to 2.15. The year 1965 was one of the most important turning points in modern U.S. coinage. Prior to that year, quarters were made of 90% silver, a tradition that stretched back decades. But by the early 1960s, silver prices were rising rapidly. The U.S. Mint was running out of affordable silver, and people were hoarding coins for their precious metal value. To keep up with demand and protect the coin supply, the U.S. government passed legislation that changed the composition of the dime and quarter. Starting in 1965, the Washington Quarter was struck on a clad planchet, made of copper and nickel instead of silver. So here's where it gets interesting, the change wasn't instant or perfect. During the transition, some 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. These minting errors are among the most sought-after coins in all of U.S. numismatics. Gemstone, the ultra-rare error, 2:15 to 4 o'clock. Now let's talk about the 1965 Washington Quarter struck on a silver planchet. These errors are incredibly rare. Only a handful have been discovered to date. Because silver coins are heavier and brighter, experts and collectors can spot them using some simple techniques, more on that soon. The mistake happened when a silver planchet from 1964 was mistakenly fed into a press in 1965, producing a silver quarter with no mint mark in the 1965 date. Since no 90% silver quarters were supposed to exist in 1965, this error coin broke the rules of minting, making it one of the most prized in circulation. Just how rare is it? Fewer than 20 verified examples of 1965 silver quarters exist in top condition, and some auctioned coins have sold for $7,000 to over $12,000, and climbing. One day, a flawless high-grade specimen could hit the $100,000 to $250,000 mark as demand increases. Chart increasing, other rare varieties, 4 to 5.15. While the silver planchet error is the king, there are other 1,965 quarters worth thousands too. Let's go over a few. White heavy checkmark off-center strikes, where the coin is misaligned during the minting process. These can be worth $500 to $5,000 or more depending on the percentage off. White heavy checkmark wrong planchet errors, a 1965 quarter struck on a dime or nickel blank is extremely rare and valuable. White heavy checkmark double die errors, coins showing doubling in areas like the date or Liberty. These can be subtle but worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. White heavy checkmark full strike mint state examples, even a regular 1965 clad quarter, if perfectly preserved and graded MS-68 or above, could be worth $3,000 to $10,000 plus at auction. The key takeaway? Don't just look for silver, look for perfection and error. Magnifying glass tilted left, how to spot a silver 1965 quarter, 5.15 to 6.45. Okay, so you want to know, how do I tell if my 1965 quarter is silver and not just another ordinary coin? Here's how. Look at the edge, a regular clad quarter has a visible copper stripe on the edge. If the edge looks solid silver or white, that's a major red flag, in a good way. Check the weight, use a digital scale. A standard 1965 clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver one weighs about 6.25 grams. Sound test, gently tap it with another coin. Silver coins make a higher pitched ring, while clad coins make a dull clink. Get it graded. If you suspect you have a silver 1965 quarter or a rare error, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. Warning. There are fake silver-plated coins out there, so professional grading is essential if you want to sell or insure it. Money bag, auction prices, 6:45 to 8 o'clock. Let's talk real-world value now. Here are just a few actual auction sales of 1965 quarters. Green Circle, a 1965 silver quarter graded MS-62 sold for $7,050 at Heritage Auctions. Green Circle, another silver planchet error, sold for $12,650 in top condition. Green Circle, a regular 1965 clad quarter graded MS-68 sold for $12,000. Yes, even without being silver. But experts believe this is just the beginning. As more collectors flood the market, values could easily explode. A high-grade silver 1965 quarter with deep cameo contrast or proof-like surfaces could cross $100,000 in the next decade. Direct hit, final thoughts, 8 to 9:30. So what's the lesson here? That old jar of quarters your grandparents left you, or the pocket change from a gas station run, might just hold a national treasure. The 1965 Washington quarter, a coin often overlooked, can be a gateway to massive value. Whether it's a rare silver planchet error, a double die, or a mint state gem, these quarters have changed lives. If you're a collector, hobbyist, or just someone who likes to dream big, always check your change and pay attention to the details. The rarest treasures often hide in plain sight. In 1976, the United States celebrated 200 years of independence, a massive milestone in American history. To mark this occasion, the U.S. Mint issued special designs for 3 coins, the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar coin. Instead of the standard eagle design, the 1976 Bicentennial Quarter featured a new reverse, a drummer boy standing next to a torch surrounded by stars. It became an instant favorite for collectors and patriotic Americans alike. But here's the twist: although the coin was minted to celebrate 1976, the coins were actually struck in both 1975 and 1976, and they all carry the dual date, 1776 to 1976. No quarters were minted with the single date, 1975. The Denver Mint produced over 860 million bicentennial quarters, most of them common. But a tiny fraction, especially rare errors or high-grade specimens, have become some of the most valuable coins in U.S. numismatic history. Now, let's get to what really makes these coins valuable: errors and special varieties. Here are the top rarest 1976 bicentennial quarter errors that can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even over $100,000. Fire 1. Double die obverse, DDO. This is one of the most exciting errors. A double die obverse means that the die used to strike the coin was engraved twice, slightly offset. This causes visible doubling on the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Collectors pay a premium for strong doubling. A certified high-grade DDO bicentennial quarter has fetched over $5,000 at auction, and this value is climbing. Fire 2. Struck on silver planchet. Now here's the big one. Some 1976 quarters were accidentally struck on 40% silver planchets meant for special collector sets. If you have a silver 1976 quarter, it could easily fetch between $5,000 and $20,000, depending on condition. But if it's a rare high-grade MS-68 or better, the value could soar past $100,000. Want to know if your quarter is silver? Stay tuned, we'll cover that in just a moment. Fire 3. Off-center strikes. Another major error type is the off-center strike, where the design is partially missing because the planchet was misaligned during minting. A dramatic 50% off-center bicentennial quarter in mint condition could sell for $3,000 to $7,000. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin. Fire 4. Clipped planchets. These are coins that look like they've had a bite taken out of them. That bite is a result of a mistake in the blanking press at the mint. Depending on the size and placement of the clip, values can range from $100 to $1,500 or more. Straight ruler, Section 3, How to Identify a Rare Bicentennial Quarter, 5 to 7 o'clock. Here's what you should look for to determine if your 1976 bicentennial quarter could be worth thousands or even six figures. 1. Check for silver content. Use a digital scale. A regular clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver planchet quarter weighs about 5.75 to 6.25 grams. Also, examine the edge. A silver coin will have a solid white or grayish edge, while clad quarters have a distinct copper stripe. White heavy checkmark 2. Inspect for doubling. Use a magnifier or loupe and look closely at the date, 1776 to 1976. The word, liberty. The motto, in God we trust. If any of these elements look doubled, you might have a double die error worth big bucks. White heavy checkmark 3. Grade matters. Even a regular 1976 D quarter can be valuable if it's in pristine condition. Coins graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC are extremely rare and sought after by top collectors. An MS68 Bicentennial Quarter has sold for over $6,000, and ultra-high grades could break $10,000 or more. Let's talk real-world values. Here are just a few auction records for the 1976 D Bicentennial Quarter. Green Circle MS68 plus 1976 D, sold for $6,463. Green Circle Silver Clad Error, sold for $19,200. Green Circle Double Die Error in High Grade, sold for $8,400. Green Circle Off-Center Bicentennial in High Grade, sold for $3,500. Green Circle Unique Mint Error Example, double struck on silver planchet, estimated value over $150,000. Now imagine if you find a Bicentennial Quarter with multiple errors in high grade, the sky's the limit. Section 1, Background and Design. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced in 1979 to honor one of America's most influential figures in the women's suffrage movement, Susan B. Anthony. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical woman, and it replaced the larger Eisenhower dollar coin to create a more compact, modern dollar for everyday use. Struck in a copper-nickel clad composition, not silver, the coin was 11-sided, technically round but with an 11-sided border, and featured Susan B. Anthony's profile on the obverse, front. A bold American eagle landing on the moon on the reverse, a nod to the Eisenhower dollar's Apollo 11 design. The $1,979 was struck at 3 mints. Philadelphia, P. Denver, D. San Francisco, S. The focus today is the 1979 P, where some of the most valuable rarities in U.S. coinage history were born. Gemstone, Section 2, Rare Varieties and Big Money Sales, 230 to 530. Now here's where things get exciting. There are 2 major varieties of the 1979 P Susan B. Anthony dollar that send collectors into a frenzy. Fire 1. 1979 P Wide Rim, Near Date. Also known as the near date, this rare variety features a much thicker rim, and the date appears closer to the rim than usual. It was the result of an early die modification intended to make the coin look better. However, the U.S. Mint changed the design mid-production, making the wide rim variety very scarce. Money bag values. In circulated condition, $250 to $500. In MS65, $1,000 to $3,000. MS67 or higher, these are extremely rare and can sell for $10,000 to $20,000 plus. One MS67 wide rim recently sold for over $15,000 at auction. While the wide rim is the star, there are other rare mint errors that push values into the tens or hundreds of thousands. Double strike errors, where the coin was struck twice, visibly overlapping. Value, $5,000 to $25,000. Off-center strikes, the design is partially missing due to misalignment. Value, $3,000 to $10,000 plus. Wrong planchet errors, coins struck on the wrong metal disc, like a foreign coin planchet. These are ultra-rare and have sold for $50,000 to $150,000. In one famous case, a 1979 P. Susan B. Anthony dollar struck on a nickel planchet was sold for over $80,000. And a broad strike error in mint state brought more than $10,000. Straight ruler, Section 3, How to identify the rare 1979 P wide rim, 530 to 730. Here's how you can check if your 1979 P dollar is worth thousands. White heavy checkmark. Step 1, look at the date. Compare the spacing between the rim and the 1979. If there's extra space, it's the common narrow rim. If the date is very close to the rim, almost touching, you've got the rare wide rim. White heavy checkmark. Step 2, check the condition. Even a wide rim is only worth top dollar in high grades. MS 65 or better equals $1,000 plus. MS 67 equals $10,000 to $20,000 plus. Certified grading from PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase the coin's market value. White heavy checkmark. Step 3, check for errors. Use a 10x magnifying loupe to look for doubling on letters or the date, weird shapes or misalignments, thicker or thinner rims, planchet abnormalities, off color, different weight. If you suspect an error, do not clean it, just get it professionally graded. Chart increasing, Section 4, Real auction results, 730 to 830. Let's take a look at some real-world sales that prove the value of this incredible coin. Green Circle 1979, P wide rim MS 67, sold for $15,275. Green Circle 1979, P double strike error, sold for $19,200. Green Circle 1979, P on foreign planchet, sold for over $84,000. Green Circle broadstruck mint error, over $10,000. Green Circle perfect proof, 70 deep cameo, S mint over $12,000. And remember, many of these coins were discovered in circulation or old coin jars. Brain, Section 5, Why this coin matters, 830 to 915. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was underappreciated in its time. In fact, it was mocked for being too similar in size to the quarter, and most Americans rejected it. But decades later, this same coin is making a massive comeback in the collector's world, especially the 1979 P with rare varieties and mind-blowing errors. It's a perfect example of how coins once overlooked can turn into ultra-rare, high-value collectibles.